Now look, I know the Mavs were shorthanded tonight. I know they were without their best player, who really is one of the best players in the league. It's not just any best player, an MVP candidate, but there was so much more that was so impressive from the Bulls in this game, because the Bulls could have easily just gotten complacent, thinking this was going to be an easy win against a shorthanded Mavs team that just played last night, messed around, tried to get cute, and allowed the Mavs to hang around in the game. And I tweeted before the game, after we learned that Doncic and Coby were going to be out tonight, that the most ideal scenario for the Bulls, knowing they've got an earlier tip-off tomorrow in Atlanta, also against a shorthanded team, that you put the Mavs away early and allow the starters to rest the whole fourth quarter. And I said that thinking it's the ideal scenario, right? But can the Bulls actually do it? Because we've seen it so many times, instances this year in which the Bulls, you would have thought, had an easy win and the game would go to the wire, which didn't allow some of the guys to get rest. You saw that the other night in the game against the Wizards, in which the Bulls really had to play to the final possession against a Wizards team that was without Bradley Beal. Still won the game, so I'll take it, but it was a little too close in a game that, in my view, should have been an easy win. So knowing the Mavericks were going to be shorthanded, I wasn't sure how they were going to come out in this one and if they were actually going to let it get to their heads, but they stayed focused, played smart, played really tough defense to start the game, which we haven't seen a lot this season, and they took care of business, and by halftime, the game was virtually over. Not really sure why DeMar was playing in the fourth quarter. That really made no sense to me at all, and it wasn't like he just played the first 2 minutes. He didn't get pulled out of the game until 7 minutes left to go in the fourth. I don't mind that Pat played well into the fourth quarter, because there are opportunities to give him more touches, more experience, and he's only 21 years old. Like, back-to-back shouldn't have that much of an impact on him. But for DeMar, your oldest starter, why is he in the game when it's over, when you're traveling to play in Atlanta tomorrow? Anyway, I'm not going to harp on that point, because there were too many good things to take away from this one to be really talking about the negatives. There was so much to like from this game. How about setting a franchise record, 82 points in the first half, a season high, 144 points in regulation, season high in 19 threes made? How about the fact that they shot the ball well, 63% from the field? They shot the three ball well, 56%, a season high from a percentage standpoint as well. It's funny because we always talk about how the Bulls don't take enough threes. They're last in the league in three-point attempts, and tonight it felt like they were putting up so many threes, which I guess they did for them, 34 threes. But then when I looked at the Mavs three-point attempts in the box score, they put up 44, and it kind of puts things into perspective of where the Bulls are in relation to the rest of the league, although the Mavs shot it terribly, 11 for 44, 25%. I mean, I don't have a problem with the Bulls putting up more threes, as long as they're taking smart shots and not running the floor in transition and stopping and popping from three, no one below to rebound, or an ISO contested step back three when the game is on the line. Those I do not like whatsoever, but really tonight, there were not that many bad shots taken from the Bulls. Yes, I know the Mavs didn't have their best player. I know that the flow of the game is not going to be the same when Doncic is out there, but this was by far and away the smartest I have seen this team play. The ball movement was phenomenal. Finished the game with 35 assists, also a season high. The shot selection was by far and away their best all season. Their ability to operate in the pick and roll when the Mavs didn't have Kleber and recognize that was superb. And the defense was great. And the few times they made a mistake and turned the ball over, they only had 8 turnovers all game, by the way, they came right back on the other end and forced a turnover to get the ball back. Like, everything was working tonight for the Bulls, and it starts with the Bulls' big three setting the tone. DeMar DeRozan, Zach Lavine, and Nikola Vucevic came out strong. They came out aggressive and put the team on their backs and really created that separation in the second quarter when the Bulls won that quarter 42-23. That, for all intents and purposes, put the game away. Like, we knew the Mavs were not going to be coming back from a 30-point deficit at halftime, and if they did, I might have just had to shut down my whole channel and finish watching the Bulls for the rest of the season. You talk about efficiency. Zach Lavine, 7 for 11 tonight, 2 for 5 from 3, 16 points, 4 assists, 2 steals. Vucevic, 8 for 11, 2 for 3 from 3, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, and a steal. DeMar DeRozan, 9 for 13, 9 for 9 from the line, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. He was a plus 38 tonight. Again, not really happy he played in the fourth, but I'll let it slide. And the best part was the big three didn't have to put in much playing time. Zach played 27 minutes, Vooch 26, DeMar 32. Also, how about Patrick Williams? He had himself a nice game. 16 points, 6 for 10 from the field, 4 for 5 from 3. You know, dude has really started to find his stroke from deep. Also 3 rebounds and 3 assists. I actually think 3 assists is a season high for him, which is kind of sad to say, but hey, one step at a time. He was also plus 16 on the night. Oh, one concerning piece though about this game was that Caruso left early and did not return from an apparent low back contusion. Hopefully he's okay. It's not like we needed him in this game with the way things were going, but hopefully it isn't going to be an extended outing, considering we haven't been able to have Javonte Green for the past few games, and we can't be down so many defenders on this roster, although other guys who aren't really known for their defense are actually stepping up on that front, which has been nice to see. So hopefully we get an update from Caruso soon that he'll be all right and good to play for tomorrow, because we're going to need him on Trae Young in that game against the Hawks. Aside from the starters though, I mean, the bench showed up really well tonight. Derrick Jones Jr., dude couldn't miss from 3, hit 4 threes, finished the game with 16 points, and he also had some really nice dunks. If only we could see Derrick consistently put up threes like that, he really would be that 3-and-D forward off the bench that the Bulls really need. Drummond, man, some of those poster dunks, that's the kind of energy I want to see from Andre Drummond. I talked about how when I went to the game in San Francisco against the Warriors, how it just seemed like his demeanor and body language has changed. How he wasn't putting in the same level of effort because the Bulls have been losing, and was looking like the player I was worried the Bulls had signed, a guy who has a lot of skills as an interior threat big man, but just doesn't care as much as his opponent. Tonight he was dunking over everyone, skying high for boards. Need to keep seeing that same level of energy from Drummond. He finished the game with 9 points and 7 rebounds, and then both Dragic and Dosunmu had great games off the bench. Dragic not only from scoring but also from a facilitating perspective, 14 points and 4 assists in 16 minutes, 5 for 7 from shooting, and then Ayo 17 points in 30 minutes. He was finding his stroke, going 6 for 9, 3 for 5 from deep. The only guy who really could not find his shot, literally the only one in this game, was Coby White, who went 1 for 7 and over 5 from 3. Everyone else on the court had a very efficient night. Hey, it was good to see even Dalen Terry getting some minutes. I really would have thought that he would have been brought in the game earlier in the fourth quarter. Like, the game was clearly out of their reach. Give the guy some minutes, give him some touches. You're not going to be able to develop him otherwise. All in all though, a great game, great win, a must win that they needed to handle, and they did it early and never looked back. And now it's right back at it tomorrow for an earlier game in Atlanta. Tip-off is 5:30 Central. You guys know I'll have a live chat for the game. Feel free to join it if you'd like. Until then, be sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.